Whether it's immigration, the economy, or who he can hire and fire, President Trump's second term has been marked by one battle after another with the federal courts.
We've seen across the country with judges who were appointed by Democratic presidents, Republican presidents. We've seen very broad, strong statements by the courts that many of these policies have crossed the legal line.
Policies in many cases going much further than his first term in office, and often done all on his own with the stroke of a pen.
Do an executive order. I'd love to do that.
With a Republican-controlled House and Senate, Congress has shown little interest in serving as a check on the president's agenda.
Anytime this president sees a problem, he jumps right in to fix it.
But the third branch of government now flexing its power more and more. Over the past year, federal judges have temporarily blocked, paused, delayed, or outright banned President Trump's policies on immigration, health, tariffs, and more. One estimate from the Brennan Center for Justice tracking more than 650 lawsuits filed against the Trump administration to date, and over 150 decisions where courts have at least partially ruled against the administration. Just this week, a federal judge blocked Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s changes to the immunization schedule for children, finding proper procedures weren't followed. The judge also noting only 6 of the 15 on the advisory committee appear to have any meaningful experience in vaccines. Last week, a federal judge in Washington quashing grand jury subpoenas issued to the Federal Reserve, finding, quote, abundant evidence that the subpoena's dominant, if not sole purpose, is to harass Fed Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, a frequent Trump target. The president, in turn, not afraid to unleash on the judges who rule against him, even some he appointed.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
NBC News has reported that harassment and threats have changed the lives of some judges who have ruled against President Trump, prompting Chief Justice John Roberts to sound the alarm about the disturbing trend.
Personally directed hostility is dangerous, and it's got to stop.
Many of the most hotly contested cases ending up at Roberts' doorstep, no matter how the lower courts have ruled.
The Supreme Court has been injecting itself into cases at a much earlier stage. You've seen these emergency appeals go up to the court. Historically, the court would turn those away unless there was a real emergency.
President Trump's record at the high court, often favorable. The justices greenlit his ban on transgender service members and paved the way for him to end the immigration status that's protected thousands of Venezuelans. Still, it's refused to let the president send the National Guard to Chicago and dealt a major blow to the centerpiece of President Trump's economic agenda when the justices struck down his tariffs.
The Supreme Court has been very firm and consistent that the president's emergency powers are limited.
His power to fire members of the Federal Trade Commission and the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, historically viewed as independent, still left to be determined, along with one of his most significant immigration moves, a plan to end U.S. citizenship guaranteed under the Constitution to babies born on U.S. soil. High-stakes rulings that could provide answers about the limits of presidential power. Laura Jarrett, NBC News.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.